Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, and I'll tell you, I've gotten some emails from people here and there. One of the biggest confusions, I think, in law of attraction, I think one of the biggest things that's caused more problems in more people's minds is this concept of us pushed out. Neville Goddard's talked a lot about it, and I know pretty much everyone and their mother on the YouTube side has kind of run with this. And a lot of people take his individual quote and take it out of context and then run with it. And we get a lot of people that actually believe that other people are literally us. At least I think this is kind of the case. Now, I found two quotes from Neville Goddard. One of them is in the Reader, the big blue book that I've showed me many, many times. And I can't honestly, for the life of me, remember what freaking story it's in there. But the quote is something to the effect of, and I'm pretty close on this, the world is you pushed out. Now, in this particular case, what he's meaning is the experiences that we see in the world around us are because of thoughts we hold. We hold thoughts about how people behave. We hold thoughts about how the world exists. We hold thoughts about what we expect to see. We have internal dialogues where we're constantly telling the crew of our ship, if you will, we're the captain. We tell our crew, hey, this is what I think of that person over there. This is what I think of this group of people. This is my understanding and belief of the world. I think all people are bad, whatever, right? Like whatever your views are, you will see that pushed onto the canvas that we call the world. So when you walk around, you'll have experiences that will verify that your belief is true. Now, that doesn't mean your belief is true. It means that you're creating this reality by the views and images and realities that you hold true inside yourself, and thusly you push them out to the world, and that's what reflects back to you, and that's what you experience. So on the standpoint of the experiences we have, the world is us pushed out. We have our views inside. Those kind of get pushed out to the canvas. That's what's reflected back to us. And so people might walk into your life and read the script perfectly. Like you think everybody thinks you're fat, so some random person walks up to you and be like, oh, God, you're huge, right? Like, you sure you need another cheeseburger, right? And you're just like, where did that come from? That's messed up. And again, it's because we hold those views, so people will walk into our lives and express them for us and then walk away. Now, that individual that just said, really, you need another cheeseburger shoved in your mouth, they may never have said that to anybody else in the world at all, ever. But for whatever reason, felt inspired or just had it pop out of their mouth, and then they walked away and were like, why the hell did I even say that? That's so rude of me to even say to someone. I can't believe I just said it. Again, they'll play out the role perfectly for you, but at the same time, it's your belief that created it. Now, there's another place that I saw a quote, and again, I've only found two quotes, and I'm hoping there's more, and I know some of you are going to be diligently trying to find them and dig them up and send them to me, and let me caveat that right after, because I've had a lot of people send me information that said, yes, no, he talks about it in here. No, he doesn't. Like, I need the exact quote. You pushed out, the world is you pushed out, they are you pushed out, something, right? I need that quote. And then what I do is I read the entire context of it and sort of look at what he was meaning by it, not necessarily what he said in that one sentence, which leads up to the second example. And there's a lecture that he gave way back when where someone was asking him a question about trying to help a friend get a better job, right? You wanted to see your friend get promoted. And so the quote that he uses in this case is, everyone is yourself pushed out. And the context of this quote had to do with someone asking the question, should I imagine that my friend's boss giving them the promotion? And Goddard said, no, you don't imagine the boss, because what happens if that boss quits? What happens if that individual dies, right? Like, and now all of a sudden I'm gonna manifest him, the boss, doing a particular activity that may very well not be the boss. So what I do is I imagine my friend standing up in front of us at the dinner table, ding, 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 with his glass, and doing a cheers and telling us all how he's been promoted. And when you handle it from that standpoint and don't worry about all the minutia of all the people that need to be involved with this particular manifestation to happen, but you just worry about your friend telling you that he's gotten the promotion, by manifesting that experience all the other things must be taken care of. Everyone is yourself pushed out implies that all these other people will do what they need to do in order to manifest this reality that you're looking to create. Again, people will fill the role, people will read the script they need to, and life will be good. Where I see the biggest confusion around this idea of everyone is you pushed out is when we have manifested a specific individual into our life. This is one of the places, specific individual, children, maybe co-workers, bosses. I see it in locations where there's a very specific individual that is behaving in a particular way that we don't like. Now, what happens when you look at the actual way that manifestation works is where I am right now in my internal self, my internal dialogue, the level of internal hatred I hold for people around me, or love, right? Whatever side of that you're on. But the little dialogues that I have inside my mind, what I view of everybody around me, all these types of thoughts lead to my experiences that I have, or all these thoughts, another way to look at it, is attract certain people into our lives. Now, sometimes these people that we attract into our lives may sort of be variables. They might be grumpy one day, but then when we wake up on a better side of the bed, maybe they're a lot nicer to us, so we kind of get that weird variant, how they always seem to reflect back wherever I'm at. We also have situations maybe where there's a child, right? Child or a boss that behaves a certain way. We don't want it. We want to try to change them because, of course, they're us pushed out. So if they're us pushed out, that's essentially me. So if that's essentially me, then all I've got to do is change something inside of myself and my boss will do whatever I want. That's actually incorrect. That's not a correct use of the us pushed out. That's not actually correct in the standpoint of you cannot control anyone. You can lead a horse to water, you cannot make it drink. You can't even control an animal. Ultimately, if you're pulling on the reins of a horse, right, and you're trying to pull left, and the horse doesn't like you and doesn't agree with you, and it starts pulling right because it's fighting you, it's going to go wherever the hell it wants. You can't control another. Now, can we influence other people? Yes, you absolutely can. You can influence other people by imagining them doing things. You can influence other people by imagining them doing the proper thing or hearing that better choice from them. Maybe you've got a child that's using drugs, for example, or a friend that's using drugs, and you want to try to help get them to stop using drugs. Then you would imagine them telling you, hey, look, I don't do drugs anymore. Oh my God, I can't believe I finally got to this place where I can do that. So you imagine them telling you that they've reached this place. That's influence. That's helping manifest that. Can I guarantee manifest that that individual will stop using drugs? No, you can't. You can't. I know there's books that say you can. I know there's all sorts of things out there that suggest. I know there's YouTubers that say, well, so-and-so says that you can. You can't. You can't. You cannot control another human being. Now, you might ask yourself, wait, but it says that everyone is you pushed out. All right, let's flip it around. Let's flip it around. Maybe your boss or maybe your kid doesn't like the fact that you are constantly telling them to stop doing drugs. Or maybe your boss keeps telling you, you have to show up on time, and you're frustrated with that. So why can't your boss force you to behave? Wait, what? Huh? No, Dan, I'm talking about making my boss do what I want to do. No, I understand that. But why can't your boss make you do what he wants you to do? Why is your boss so angry at you all the time? Why are you fighting that? If he could only force you to do what he wants to do. And now you start to see the problem. If everyone is literally you pushed out, then your boss isn't just you, but you're also, from your boss's perspective, you're also him. It doesn't work. We all have choices. Now, not to get off into the weeds too hard, but something I've talked a lot about, Law of One, the concept of service to self and service to others. And as we work up through the densities of love and learning how to live with love and learning how to live through the way I think and do and how that affects my reality, and as we start to evolve through this stuff, ultimately we'll get to a place where everyone comes back to love, everyone comes back to unity. And one from the service to self path, one of the direct ways that happens is in the realization that I cannot control other people. That is truly one of the realizations that service to self people will come to, is that I can't force them to do what I want. So the way to try to work through that is through love, through influence, through help, again, I can't make them do it, but I can influence, I can try to lead by example, I can try to send out positive thoughts, but ultimately through control, through fear, through all the different mechanisms that service to self can use, you can't force the individual to do what you want. So again, choice equals theirs, the person. You might not like what they're choosing to do. You might like what they're choosing to do. It might be good at one moment and then it might change. So one of the emails I got recently, and I've gotten this question many, many, many times as I've had this channel and even throughout the years, is people will be at a particular place in their life. Maybe they're busy. The example I'm going to use for me instead of this person, because I don't know their whole story, but I knew my story. And I met a very unique, specific person a number of years ago. I think it's probably been about 7 years almost now. And I met this person at a time in my life where I wanted to meet someone special, but I didn't really have room in my life for a relationship. I was working, honestly, at the time, probably close to 70 hours a week, 75 hours a week, somewhere around there. I was working an insane amount. I didn't have a lot of money. That was why I was working so many hours. And I really didn't have room for a relationship. Certainly not somebody in my life that wanted to take up a bunch of my time, because I just didn't have any time to give. So what I did is I manifested an amazing woman into my life that was everything I could ever possibly want, except married with a child and in a situation that she really wasn't willing to get out of. One, it would have been bad for the child. A lot of people say, well, you can manifest around that. Well, I disagree. A child is a child, and that child has a father. He's not me pushed out. He has a father. He has a family. And me trying to change that is now my karma trying to mess up a good thing. So ultimately, I manifested exactly what I wanted. An awesome person that I couldn't be with. Now, a lot of people at this point go, all right, Dan, I got a question. I've manifested this person. Everything's great, but they're in a relationship right now. They've got kids right now. They just got pregnant again. They're in jail, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, any number of things. So I've attracted this person to me from where I was at that moment, right? That's where I was. That's who I was, right? And then about 3 years into it, I got a couple promotions, life started getting better, I started having more free time. Now all of a sudden I wanted more from this relationship than she could give me. And now as I've changed and evolved, I want this thing I've manifested to change and evolve with me. Problem is, I manifested someone that was at the time perfect for where I was, and now this person is not perfect for where I am. And so a lot of people try to change the individual they attracted to themselves so they'll fit their new mold. And so they feel like, well, since everybody's just me pushed out, I should very easily be able to do that. Problem is, you can't. You can't change another individual. You can't. You can influence. Again, we've talked about how you can do that. You can think positive thoughts. You can put energy towards it. And in a lot of cases, that works. In a lot of cases, that works. What happens if it doesn't? What happens if no matter what you go through where you're trying to help influence another individual and it's not working, they're not going to the place that you need them to go so you can have the thing you desire? What do you do then? And ultimately, what you do then is you look at where you are now, you decide, what is it that I truly want right now? Is it a relationship? Or is it someone that I can hang out with from time to time? What is it that I want? Reminds me of another great Neville Goddard short lecture he gave, where he talked about a lady that came up to him and said, how do I want to manifest? I want to manifest this particular individual. There's a very specific individual that I want to manifest. How can I do it? And Goddard says, you don't really want to manifest a specific individual. You want to manifest love. And the woman's like, no. It's this guy only. No other guy will do. It's definitely this guy. And Goddard says, no, step back from this for a second and understand that what you really want is a good relationship with a wonderful man, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And the lady says, yeah, that's true, but no, I want this guy. So shorten the story a little bit, 6 months later or so, Neville Goddard gets invited to this lady's wedding. So Neville Goddard's there, sees the lady at the entrance or whatever, and sees the gentleman that she's walking down the aisle to. Goddard quickly puts two and two together and goes, that's not the dude that you wanted to be with. And when he looked at the lady, he knew at that moment that her and Neville had this understanding that, yeah, I know that's not the dude you wanted to be with. Again, even Neville's talked about manifesting specific people. And in this particular example, it's really the love that you're trying to manifest, not necessarily the specific person. I know it is so hard to believe that there may be other people in the world that hold these same magical qualities that this individual that we're stuck on right now hold. For a lot of us, that's hard to believe. Now, what's funny, in my case, is I finally said, all right, so I get it. I can't necessarily make her leave her husband, nor do I want to. I understand there's a karmic debt to be paid if I try to break apart a family. Also coming from a broken home myself, last thing I want to do is put this kid through what I went through. So again, I said, no, that's not what I want to do. What I really want is I want to be in an awesome relationship with someone who truly cares about me, yada, 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 right? I've talked about scripting, writing down all the things you really want from a relationship. Again, this is that point where you want to revisit that. You want to revisit what it is that I actually want. Not from this individual. No, what is it that you as a person actually want to manifest? And if it's a relationship, then think about that, focus on that, make that your priority, understand that you've got to be willing to be in a relationship fully, commit to a relationship fully. And when you truly are ready for that, guess what you find? Relationship. And oddly, with me, the second I finally came to that conclusion or that reality or that understanding, the second it happened, literally probably within 24 hours, I met the girl I'm with now. And I'd been seeing her on a regular basis, and I was kind of flirting with her, but, she never was anything, and there was a situation where, it was never going to really lead to anything, so I was more of a friend, and I was always just trying to support this individual. Well, that honestly changed right after I kind of came to this same sort of mindset or understanding within my mind. And literally within like a day or two, was already at the point where I was able to then ask this individual to go out. We went out on a date, had a good time. 2.5 years later, I'm still with her and having a great old time. Life is good. Life is groovy. Occasionally, yeah, I still hear from the other lady, but it's not anything more than that. And that's okay. And it's fine. And yeah, she was super special and wonderful and all those things. But the person I'm with is magnificent. Like probably one of the sweetest, kindest people I've ever met in my life. When you finally open it up to what it is that you really want, that's what you'll manifest. Rather than trying to make others fit your mold, to change others to fit your mold, that's an extremely difficult path to go down. In fact, most of the time it won't work. Sometimes it will. Sometimes you can influence somebody to change behaviors. Sometimes you can even change yourself to the point that they'll kind of follow along. But there are plenty of times where they won't. And this is where I think so many spin their wheels desperately trying to figure out what is it about me that's so wrong that won't allow them to change. And that is dangerous because there's not necessarily something wrong with you in that you are trying to change someone that's not right for you. That might be the only thing that's wrong. But we'll internalize it so strongly, we have it so stuck in our head that everyone's you pushed out, that if something's not working out, if that someone's not behaving how you want them to, well, then you assume you must be screwed up. You assume you're the problem. You assume that you've made the mistake. Again, you attracted them to yourself at the time you did from the place you were at then. Where you're at now might be very, very different. And that is where the problem starts to lie. You cannot make someone jump to the level you're at. Someone can choose to come up to the level you're at. You might have climbed up to the level so you can help them get up to you. But ultimately, it is their choice what they're going to do. If there's a specific experience you want, and there's an individual that you're trying to make fit that mold, and they're struggling, they're fighting, and they keep choosing no, at some point, you need to step back to the drawing board and reassess what you're trying to manifest. Look at it from a holistic, big picture point of view. Do some scripting, write out the top 10 things that truly matter, and open yourself up to receiving that experience. May not be from that individual. Might not. In fact, in a lot of cases, it won't be. But that's okay, because it's the experience that you want. And I assure you, when you open yourself up to that experience, there is something beyond magnificent waiting for you. And in so many cases, especially for those of us that have been stuck in this loop for eons, I was in it for years. When you finally break it, it's almost like instant that you find the other thing. The whole fact that we've been holding ourselves back because we've been insistent that something has to happen a very specific way. Very specific. My love has to come through this individual or it can't happen at all. Well, you've just told the universe there's only one way for this to happen. And if that individual doesn't choose to make that so, you're kind of SOL. You're in a bad place. It ain't going to happen. It ain't. Or you may wait years and years and years and years. At what point do you finally say, wow, I've wasted 30 years of my life just so I can be with this one individual? If things aren't coming together, it's time to step back from that individual. Maybe not forever, but maybe, yeah, maybe. But it's time to step back and look at what it is that I truly desire. What is it that I'm willing to bring to the table? What am I offering this relationship to be? Am I in a place where I actually truly am ready for a relationship? Have I made room? Have I cleaned out space in my closet? Is there a place in my life for an individual to be there? If the answer is yes to that, awesome. If you're still insisting that it be a specific person and you've put a lot of time and effort and it's still not happening, then step back from it, open your heart and mind to what you're really after, and see what happens. Watch how things begin to unfold. How you go about that, listen to your heart, listen to your mind, listen to your soul. It'll lead you. Should you immediately jump online and start dating? Follow your heart. Should you immediately hop on Facebook and change your status to single? Again, follow your heart. What is the right thing for you is going to depend on you and where you are at right now. There's no perfect solution. But what there is this evolution. And that's really what all of this is us learning ourselves, us understanding what it is that our faults, our expectations, our goods and bads, like all the things that make us who we are. And then understanding, all right, I need to find the right match, the right mix, the right component to go with that so I can have this healthy relationship that I desire. And when you understand that and understand what you really desire in life, you'll recognize it instantly when it's right in front of you. You will recognize it. Trust me, all sorts of fireworks will go off inside of you and you'll be like, oh my God, I never thought. And you might even feel guilty sometimes because you'll start having feelings for someone that's not this person that you're truly starting to realize maybe it's time for me to move on. So there's a lot of experience that will come through this. Again, it's an evolution. It's an evolution to this next level, to this next step, to this next experience. And if for some reason you feel like you're having a hard time reaching that next level, maybe it's time to take a look inward and see what it is that you truly want and see if what you're actually doing is supporting that. Now, you may want so-and-so to be a certain kind of person, but if they're not doing it, then that avenue isn't working. And it might be time to look at going down a different avenue. What is it that you want? Don't try to force the world to fit what you want. Put out to the world what you want and be ready to receive that. It's really how it works. What you put out comes back to you. It's Dan RadioStyle.